Why did John the Baptist lose his head? You know, most people think that John the Baptist was beheaded because he insulted the king or criticized him or something like that. But the real reason is far more tragic. You see, John the Baptist was a prophet of God. He was a man of great faith and conviction. He was someone who wasn't afraid to speak the truth, no matter what the consequences might be. In fact, he was so bold that when Herod Antipas, the ruler of a region in Israel, decided to marry his brother's wife, Herodias, despite the fact that it was against the law, John spoke out against him. He called him a sinner and told him that what he was doing was wrong. Now, this was a huge mistake on John's part. You see, Herod was a powerful man. He was the son of King Herod the Great, who had ruled over Israel with an iron fist. And though Herod Antipas wasn't as brutal as his father, he was still a ruthless leader who would stop at nothing to protect his power. When Herod heard John's criticism, he was furious. He wanted to kill John, but he was afraid of what the people would think if he did. You see, John was a very popular figure in Israel. People loved him and respected him, and they saw him as a kind of Messiah. So Herod was afraid that if he killed John, the people would turn on him and revolt. But then something happened that gave Herod the perfect opportunity to get rid of John. You see, Herod's wife, Herodias, was a scheming woman. She wasn't happy in her marriage, and she had set her sights on another man, a soldier named Mark Antony. Now, Herodias couldn't just leave Herod and marry Anthony, not only because she wasn't divorced from Herod, but also because she knew that if she did, she would lose all of her power and influence. So instead, she came up with a plan to get rid of Herod and marry Anthony without anyone knowing about it. And the first step of her plan was to get rid of John the Baptist. You see, Herodias knew that John was a threat to her plan. He was a man of God who spoke the truth, and he wouldn't hesitate to expose her if he found out what she was up to. So she decided to get rid of him once and for all. She went to Herod and told him that John had been saying bad things about him and his wife, and she suggested that he should be put to death. Now, Herod was angry, but he was still hesitant. He didn't want to kill John, but he didn't want to lose face in front of his wife either. So he decided to do something that would make him look like the strong leader in front of Herodias while also getting rid of John. He pretended to agree with Herodias' assessment of John and said that he would have John put to death. Then he went to John and told him that he was going to be executed. But John didn't seem to care. He accepted his fate with a smile and told Herod that he was doing God's work and that he shouldn't be afraid to die. This only made Herod angrier, and he ordered that John be beheaded right then and there. As John's head rolled to the ground, the crowd looked on in horror. They couldn't believe that their beloved prophet had just been killed. But John didn't even seem to feel pain. He looked down at his severed head and said, "Isn't this what I was born for? Isn't this why I've been working so hard all my life?" Then he turned to Herod and said, "You may have won this battle, but God will win the war." And with that, John breathed his last breath. So, why did John the Baptist lose his head? He lost his head because he was a man of conviction who wasn't afraid to speak the truth, no matter the consequences. He was a true hero who sacrificed everything for what he believed in, including his life. If we want to be like John, then we need to be willing to stand up for what's right, even when it's difficult and even when the consequences are great. John was a true martyr, and his story should inspire us to be better people.